I love you, children. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
You want to start?
Go ahead.
Vibrillionaire Soul, greetings and blessings, beautiful Vibrational Soul Family. Beautiful Vibrillionaires. We're going to take you guys on an intro on our walk to our space where we share nature's inner gathering. And we are going to share a message for Resurrection Sunday. This is falling off.
Oh, hold on. I got it.
Thank you. No, put it right there. There we go. So, thank you for joining us as we're going to break down, and not just to celebrate today, because there's so many people celebrating Resurrection Sunday and coming from the background of resurrection and celebrating and loving Jesus Christ, which that does never stop for me. But how do we live Resurrection Sunday? Not just today, yes, but every day. We're going to be breaking down that message today, and also why is Easter celebrated, because so many people wonder, why do we hide eggs and put eggs away and have our children go and look for them? And that was always a mystery for me growing up, is why do we celebrate Easter hunting eggs instead of celebrating the resurrection of Jesus? So we're going to talk about a lot of different, not a lot, we're going to talk about several different areas on why Resurrection Sunday is so important and so powerful. So stay tuned and just enjoy this walk for about a minute or two before we get to that tree. We're going to get to that tree right behind the cabana. So blessings, Kelly. Thank you for joining us. Dave Lewis, Bob Prester, thank you for joining us. Let us know if you're watching live, hashtag replay. And welcome to Samadhi, where, being presented by Alice and Michael, that we are humbled and honored to present, this rich awareness of living life. And here at Samadhi, Sea of Wisdom Meditation School, we desire to remind humanity it's not simply only about positivity or negativity. It's about genuineness. Just like when we see nature, the genuineness of nature. These trees, look at that. These birds don't know nothing else but to be birds. They don't do anything else. They don't try to imitate anybody else. They don't try to put on a mask. They don't spend hours and days and energy trying to defend something that they're not, something that doesn't serve them, and they don't take more than what they need. I mean, this is our greatest reflection, closest reflection on how to live life. I mean, yeah, we need to evolve, of course, because they don't have the gift that we have of consciousness, being conscious of being able to transform our thoughts, being able to transform our perspectives. Of course, that's the blessing that we have. But the simple things, sometimes that consciousness gets in the way, meaning not the consciousness of consciousness, but the consciousness of thinking that I'm better than you, thinking that I'm smarter than you, or thinking, I'm lesser than you, or thinking I'm less able or more able. This is the endless confusion and cycles of the brain. And here's my lovely wife. You want to hold the phone, love? I'll do it.
Nope.
Here,
Nope.
hold the phone.
Nope.
We just got here and we're setting up. So give us 1 minute while we set up. Huh? Yeah. So here we are at the wetlands. Just take a look and just enjoy this moment with the wetlands, because this is what it's all about. If you ask me, what it's all about is remembering where I come from, and the closest thing to remember where I come from is nature. And nature is such a gift, such a blessing. Can you hold this, love, while I put it together, please? Thank you, love. Just look around, show them this beautiful area that we're in. And look at even children coming to play and hide their eggs and enjoy life. carrying tag.
Eric Swanson wants to know, what part of the country are you in? We are in Yuma, Arizona.
Blessings, Eric. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you. And we have Alessandro Nocera joining us, and we have
We got a beautiful message
Stan.
that we're going to unfold today.
And I can't pronounce Stan's name. I apologize.
Stan what? Let me see. Stan Tamazuski. Let me know if I said that right, brother.
I wasn't even going to try.
Beautiful soul, Stan. I haven't seen you, Stan, in a while. I know we connected a while back, so it's great to see you again. I know we've both been very productive in life and unfolding and unraveling and, discovering the mysteries of life and the beautiful gifts of life. So it's all beautiful. It's all divine. And I did space something, but I guess I'm just going to work with what I got.
A bird just pee-peed on my phone.
A bird just pee-peed on your thumb? Show them. Show them. A bird just peed on her thumb.
I can't.
Where is it?
I can't even see my thumb.
It's giving you the gift of
There
love.
it is. It's okay.
So now, I'm down the street, Scottsdale. What? Oh my gosh, brother, Scottsdale is just around the neighborhood, 3 hours away, but it's close. I know you're all over, brother, so it's great to see you, and thank you for taking your time to join us here. We're gonna break down Resurrection Sunday, which is really the opportunity to live every day, because we celebrate, a lot of people are celebrating, and I want to honor everybody celebrating today, because everybody is celebrating something today from different backgrounds and beliefs. So I want to honor every one of you celebrating, and I want to honor every one of you that are in your homes that maybe can't go anywhere. I want to honor you, and just want to share with you that Ali and I hold this loving space for you, and that's why we do these videos, so you're not alone, so you don't feel like you're lost, you're confused, because the intention of these videos is to really bring clarity for yourself. Not that we're going to bring it for you, but to really awaken something deeper inside you that's going to remind you that the clarity that you have within you. And that's really what, to me, Resurrection Sunday really represents on a global scale, on a yearly scale that we celebrate, is we get the gift of being able to die every single day. And what does resurrection mean to me? Let me put it back on us right here, so you guys can see my beautiful wife doing her magic.
Well, I'm doing my best to share. Leave it on nature. It's so beautiful, especially that tree. Look at those yellow blossoms. Are you able to put it on there and zoom in?
What's yellow blossoms? Right there?
The yellow blossoms off the Palo Verde.
Yeah. So really, if you guys look at nature does it every year.
Now it peed on my toe.
Okay, now the bird peed on her toe.
Is it the bird or is there water?
If I close in on the blossoms, they can't really see them. Amor, if I close in on the blossoms, they can't really see them. So again, let us know if you're watching live or hashtag live, hashtag replay. Let us know where you're watching from. We got Eric Swanson in Scottsdale, which is a beautiful area. We got Kelly, I believe you're in Yuma, brother, if you're not somewhere else. Stan, where are you watching from? Dave, where are you watching from? Alessandro Asikir Nocera, bless you, love.
Thank you.
Where are you watching from? So, basically, the message that we really wanted to share today, and we're going to be going live with Martin Lopez later tonight, I believe, if we're still having it, because I know he's preparing it, he already has it prepared. We're just waiting on the details of what time we're going to go on, so stay tuned for that. However, I want to bring it back over here, because we are servants and humble servants and humble, conduits of consciousness, as we all are. We're all doing our part. we're all doing our part. Yes, love. So, the one thing that we wanted to talk about this today is what resurrection really means to us, because, you know, the biblical version, and for a lot of people that are Christian Catholics, and to respect the Jews, because they have their belief, right? It is a resurrection, and some believe that Jesus didn't resurrect. But we don't want to mess with people's beliefs. We just want to give respect to the story. And whether you believe it's true or not, the story is powerful. But let me tell you that it wasn't just Jesus that did it. There's many masters, teachers who gave their lives that couldn't talk about this, that were tortured, that were killed, because they knew that talking about this was prohibited. It was the worst thing that was considered, to talk against the current paradigm. And now we are so blessed to talk about anything and everything under the sun. I mean, almost everything. If you talk about keywords and, you know, algorithms and things that the internet has, we have a freedom more than we've ever had. So, what resurrection means to us, which I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, love, because I know we talk about this all the time, is spiritual masters knew that this wasn't their one rodeo. They knew that this wasn't the only body, the only shell of existence. They knew there was something deeper. And the resurrection really represents that Jesus' story, Jesus' example, was letting us know that Jesus didn't fear for his life, because Jesus knew that there was a deeper life underneath it all. And what Jesus and all the spiritual masters and even students that sacrifice their life and you know, novices, even barely getting a whisper of this, they were willing to sacrifice their life, because they knew that there was a deeper living life. It wasn't just this physical life. There's a deeper living life inside of us all. And that deeper living life gives us the strength that no matter what we're going through right now, no matter what you're going through, Resurrection Sunday represents that if you're willing to die to those illusions, if you're willing to let go of the thought of continuing to give power, attention, and focus on the suffering, on the confusion, on the doubt, on the fear, on the insecurity, on the sadness, on the anger, on the guilt, on the resentment, on the jealousness, the jealousy, on the pride, on the shame, all these different things, the greed. If we're willing to die to those thoughts, to those perspectives, this is what death and rebirth really means for us, that we're not going to go and sacrifice our physical lives. We're going to do it vibrationally. We're going to do it on a frequency level, on an emotional level, on a thought level. You have the opportunity to resurrect yourself with the gift that God gave us, or Creator Spirit gave us, through its messengers. Because they were messengers to give us the message. They were messengers. Let me repeat that. They were messengers, not the message. Because the message is living the truth, being the truth. And when you live and be the truth, you die to the old and you resurrect to the new. But you cannot live a more genuine life if you're not willing to let go of what's keeping you stuck. Because right now, no matter what's going on, we have an opportunity to awaken gifts within us. And that's one thing that hit me to talk about this message is, no matter what happens to me, no matter what doesn't happen to me, nothing can take away the gift of my unfoldment of me. Whether I'm in a cell, because that's where I found this gift, was behind bars. I started finding this gift of meditation behind bars. And I mean, if you guys look right now, you guys will see that somebody is celebrating Easter. Let me show you guys. They're out here searching for their eggs. Look at that.
Okay, I don't think
they're out here searching for their eggs. And that's another subject I wanted to talk about really briefly, because we wonder why we hide eggs. And we hide eggs and we celebrate the bunny, right? The Easter bunny. And as a child growing up, I was like, why do we celebrate with eggs? What does that really represent? And this morning when I was talking to my sister, you know, she said Happy Easter, and I said Happy Ishtar. And she goes, what? And I said Happy Ishtar. She goes, what does that mean? And I want to share with you guys what that means, and I'm not going to go into depth about it because I'm not the expert on it, but I do have an understanding of it that goes deeper than what most people can imagine. Ishtar is a fertility goddess. She is an energetic representation of fertility. Coral Seer, thank you for joining us. Blessings, great to see you. We're talking about Resurrection Sunday, and we're actually in the middle of breaking apart the belief of Easter and what that really represents is Ishtar, the fertility goddess. And for those of you who don't believe me, go do your homework. But I always wondered when I was a kid, why do we celebrate Resurrection Sunday with Easter? And it's really Ishtar. And I'm going to very simply clarify what I have realized to this day, and even on a deeper level for myself, and what we share with our students is what Ishtar represents is fertility. And she's a goddess that has eggs all over her body, eggs all over. She represents fertility. And what does an egg represent? It represents the seed of possibility, the seed of life. And today, we have the possibility with Resurrection Sunday that not just today, because believing in God, and I apologize because I know I'm going to offend some people, but I'm not offending you. I'm actually asking you to question your beliefs, because it is beliefs that keep us stuck because we're not willing to question our beliefs. So what I'm asking is be open to this. I'm not asking you to believe it, I'm just asking you to be open to the unknown. So what Ishtar represents as the fertility goddess is the goddess of possibility. And not a coincidence. Take a breath. Because when there's resistance, that's because we're hitting a key. And Ali knows this. This is something that we're taught in church when growing up. When there's resistance, it's the devil, and you should run away from it because it's not good. Like I said, if people get offended, I'm tired of staying quiet. I'm not doing this for people who are like me. I'm doing this so we can share what we had to go through, confused and oppressed within ourselves, not knowing why things weren't working the way that we felt they should work. And when resistance comes up, it's because you're breaking through a paradigm, you're breaking through a filter, you're breaking through a veil, you're breaking through a layer, you're breaking through a wall. You're breaking through. And that resistance is trying to bring you to the familiar. Because that motorcycle could have got me upset if I was before and be like, oh my gosh, why did that motorcycle have to show up? But it didn't hold my attention. What it did, it reminded me to breathe. Because that was a reminder to be still and remember who I am. To connect with the I am presence. So, what I was sharing right now, when we got interrupted, when we got entertained by that motorcycle, or even by these beautiful children playing in the Easter, they don't know that we are doing a live. I mean, I'm sure they see the camera and everything, but we need to stop taking things personal. And even as I'm saying this message, don't take it personal, because if your faith is strong, nothing can waver your faith, because nothing wavers my faith. Ali, does anything waver your faith?
Not at all.
Why? Where does your faith come from?
From within. My faith comes from the relationship I have with myself, which in turn is God, because God created me. I'm made in His image. So if I am created by this source, this God, to be in His image, then I have nothing to fear outside of me. Except the water that keeps falling from the tree.
Does it keep falling?
I don't think it's a bird
Is it
peeping.
sap?
No, because it's not sticky. I think it's dew or something, that a rainwater, and it
Wow, like you're getting blessed.
yes, I'm being baptized because it probably captured in something and it's
beautiful
dripping.
way to be baptized
I've just been all
by
this
nature.
time. I'm going. Look, it's on my toe. It's everywhere, and I'm just like, okay, whatever it is that wants to
That
baptize
is a
me.
blessing.
Because it hasn't landed on you once.
No.
I don't know why it's just landing on me.
Man, you're not even
But
in the camera.
I don't need to be. It's okay. I'm
Yes.
doing my work over here.
Yeah, but it's both of us.
Mm.
Oh wait, it's this one.
Ah.
Oh shoot. Oh shoot.
Button.
Yesterday I hit the button, so we're not doing that again.
So
There
yes,
we go.
when Michael asked me about faith, oh, that's a long answer for me, because also faith without work, faith without action
And that's it.
means nothing.
That's
We can
it.
be full of words all day long, but if we don't act upon them, what good does it do?
And I was guilty of that, or susceptible to that, for many, many years. And I wondered why my life wouldn't transform. I wondered why my life wouldn't show up, because I helped so many people, because I loved and I gave and I served, and I was wondering, why do I always experience bad luck? But the thing about it is, one of the great masters said, one of our greatest mirrors, Jesus said, you must die to be born again. But yet how many people really don't allow themselves to die? How many people don't even know that we have the possibility and the gift of death, of a psychological death, of an emotional death, of a perceptual death, of a conceptual death, of an idealistic death, of a personality death. Because really, being afraid to die is what keeps us stuck to thinking, why doesn't life change? Why doesn't life transform? So that's what Ishtar represents. For those of you that don't know, it's the possibility of being born again, because that's what an egg represents. What does an egg represent? Is when a woman and a man, let's breathe. Take a moment to breathe as this jet goes by. Thank you for that reminder to breathe. Signs are everywhere. Reminders are everywhere. The way you look at things is the way that they're going to be. Because we're experiencing our truth. Nobody else can tell you your truth or experience your truth. But there's a deeper truth than even our truth. And that is something that cannot even be conveyed with words. With a logical, rational, analytical mind, with a judgmental mind, with the limited, egoic. When I say mind, I mean brain. Excuse me, because a lot of people confuse the mind with the brain. And if you want to know more about that, you can, sign up for our classes. The one thing that I will say is this, is when I was explaining about the fertility goddess, and if you guys realize this, go back on this recording, on this replay. If you guys realize this twice, do you notice that? When the first time, it was a motorcycle. No, 3 times. The second time, it was the children. The third time, it was the jet. And I'm going to say it again, because I don't waver. That's just confirmation to really follow through. Ishtar represents the fertility goddess. And she's the feminine. She's the divine feminine holding the space that is the womb, holds the womb of creation, right? So we can plant the seed as men, but it's up to the woman that she desires to carry the seed, right? Or not carry the seed. It's up to them. They hold the possibility, because we can't hold that possibility. Once we do our job, it's done, right? So when a man and a woman, or a woman and a man come together, they're both polarities or DNA come together to create a baby. a seed. And in that seed, we continue. It's not the personality that continues, it's the essence of the purpose of the continuum of what is designed thousands and millions of thousands of years ago. That is the potentiality of a seed. And it hasn't wavered because we're still alive. We are existing. The question is, are we alive? So, my point to this is this. Ishtar, the goddess of fertility, is really the opportunity to be born again. That's what the eggs represent. To be born again. And it's not just one egg. She has, I don't even know how many eggs, but she has so many eggs all over her body. And what this represents is that she can never die, because her eggs will be reborn again. And the more you take, the more you're giving her the blessing to live throughout humanity, throughout existence. So that's no different than us. See, I have thousands of eggs. Ali has thousands of eggs of potentiality, of possibility. And when we are afraid to die, we don't allow those eggs to hatch, to be birthed, to experience life. And no matter what you're going through, your eggs of possibility are endless. They're infinite. But the question is, are you allowing yourself to die? Or in the fear of death, in the fear of letting go, are you keeping yourself in the familiar, because the death is the unknown? The death is the unfamiliar. And that's why the most courageous form of death, the most challenging form of death, is meditation, in the silence of your being, in the stillness of the awareness of you. That is the most challenging feat to do. And guess what? We can't say we're going to get anything out of it, because the personality isn't getting anything out of it in the moment. And the personality doesn't want to die. So really, meditation is the most selfless act, but it's really the most selfish act, because we benefit. You as the individual benefit, and we as a collective benefit when we come together and we meditate, when we let go of the familiar, when we let go of the known. Because we talk about bringing heaven to earth, but how do we expect to bring heaven to earth if we are so crystallized, if we defend and we fight and we justify and we argue over the known? No matter how beautiful the known is, we fight, we argue, we justify, we contribute to the known, which is really, if we want to bring the heaven to earth, we got to bring the unknown to earth. Because the unknown is the seeds of possibility, the seeds of potentiality, the seeds of greatness. Because right now we have a crisis. No matter what you want to call it, you want to call it COVID-19, you want to call it 5G, you want to call it consciousness, whatever you want to call it, it's no different than when we say there's no label to talk about the one. So there's no label to talk about what's really going on. If I gave it a word, then I limit it. But there's something going on. And what it is, it's an invitation for you to let go and shed the layers of your illusions. And together we can create a haven, a heaven, an unknown earth that wants to be known. Because in the knowing of the earth is the I am presence. That is the known that wants to be known. But only it is in the unknown, because we cannot say what the I am is. We can only live it. We can only be the conduit to it. We can only be the servants and let it flow through us, instead of trying to control, contain. And that's what we do when we judge, when we justify, when we discriminate that mine is better than yours or yours is better than mine. We need to come together and bring this to the earth now. We can't do it without you. We need every single one of you. And the more we can do it, our children's children's children will benefit from what we do today. And we can benefit from it if we really put our work, our hard hats or whatever hats on, and do the work. Coral Seer says, happy Ishtar, right? Happy Ishtar, sister. Happy Ishtar, sister. Because it's the same thing. It's the stars, the seeds of greatness within us. Victor Garcia. And for those of you that don't know, I was sharing with my wife earlier that in the ancient Kabbalah, which I'm not going to go too much in information, and I'm not saying this for you guys can go and study it and get caught up in it. If you guys want to do that, that's totally your path. But I'd rather live it than study it, memorize it, and get so familiar with it that I'm not living it. Because there's another form of attainment, attachment, or possession, that we think possessing more knowledge is going to be the key. So, in talking about that's how you die. Even when you think you want to say, it's like, because we could talk about the ancient Kabbalah, but is it gonna, yeah, it will help you live your life, but if you get stuck on something, then you'll always get crystallized and solidified into a certain paradigm, and the key is not to be solidified. The key, like Bruce Lee said, is to become water. Because water, it doesn't solidify into anything. You put it in a cup, it becomes the cup. You put it in a bowl, it becomes the bowl. Water doesn't stay still unless you keep it something. But water flows. Water, it compromises, it surrenders to its environment. But in its surrendering, it erodes hard rock over many years into nothing. Because it knows that over time will take care of itself. It just is what it is. It's water. And the more you can just be in that surrendered state, you become that fluidic state. And you don't crystallize, you don't solidify into something. Because when we talk about anything, it's really limited to your perspective of it, your faith and belief of it, and my perspective of it, of how I'm conveying in it. So really it's limited. It's when you do that inner work and you surrender that what you heard, what you're perceiving will dissolve into the nothingness that it came from, and it will be reborn into what it is designed to serve you right here, right now, today, in every moment. So Mac Jawadakar, thank you for joining us. Lena Thakar, thank you for joining us. And let us know what you want to talk about, what Resurrection Sunday means to you. And I'm going to say it right now so people don't tell me that's what it's about, because we already know it's Jesus' resurrection on the third day. He resurrected from, being crucified on the cross. Resurrection Sunday is where we gather together and we celebrate. And really, it's not just celebrating Jesus' resurrection. It's celebrating what Jesus really wanted us to know, that when we stand in the I Am presence, we don't have to fear death. We don't have to be solidified and crystallized into our egoic thoughts or beliefs. And that's why Jesus said, renew your mind daily. Die to be born again. He was giving us the keys to the kingdom, which is within, and saying, whatever you think it is, question it. Whatever you believe it is, look deeper. Whatever you're perceiving life to be, die. Be open to the unknown, and you will become known to yourself. So love. I know you've been very quiet. Anything comes up?
feeling the breeze and enjoying the sound of nature and just being grateful for the opportunity to be here, the freedom to be here, even though this world seems like it's falling apart sometimes. But
Really, it's coming together.
yeah, so I'm just enjoying being.
So for people that the world is falling apart, what advice would you give to them, especially with the awareness that you've unfolded, and because we're never there, right? I mean, we just went through blueprints this morning. We're all constantly working on ourselves because it's a never-ending process. But is it worth it?
I wouldn't trade this for anything in the world. I'm
Ditto.
I'm very aware how my life has transformed. Not just from my background to where I am now, but every day it transforms. Every day I am renewing that mind. Every day I'm working on myself in one way or another, and something unfolds, and I'm able to have a better understanding of myself. Because one thing with everything that's going on, how can we expect for others to understand us? How can we expect for us to understand what's happening in this world, or what happens around us, or with our partners or our family members, if we can't understand ourselves? So
Say that again, if you're able to. Now you know how I feel when you tell me.
No, I don't know how you feel. That's what I just said. Everybody has their own understanding, their own way of, yeah, it's okay. I don't need it anymore. And so I'm in a very tranquil place within myself right now. I'm just being and enjoying being. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And my heart is filled with gratitude for whatever little simple things I am able to experience. They may seem like they're simple and little on the outside, but to me, on the inside, they're just the greatest. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what this water is that's falling on me. I may not understand it, I may never know, but every time it drops, it's reminding me of something, and it's saturating my body with this very, I think it's rain, because it rained last night again, I think, or yesterday or something, so it's kind of yellowish. First I thought it was a bird.
I actually did for yesterday in the dawn.
First I thought it was a bird that peed on me, but I don't think it is. I've never smelled bird pee, so I try to smell it, see what it smells like. It doesn't smell like pee. It just smells like water, like something, like it's just been sitting there. So I look up at the tree every so often to see where could it be, because I know what sap feels like, and it's not sap. So that's what I'm doing. Just enjoying.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's coming from the nothingness to you.
Probably. Right
I mean, I'm sure there's a logical explanation, but even if there wasn't.
And even if there wasn't, that's why I said,
yeah,
every time it just
it
comes to me, I'm just sitting here and see, there's another one. Right on my pants.
Natural oils.
I don't know.
Oils from mana.
Yeah.
Mana.
I'm just enjoying it and being, and
Pranic water. Akashic water.
So renew your minds. Know that every time that you die to the old self, every time you die to those thoughts and feelings and patterns, you become new and you're reborn.
There's a bird right up there.
That's it. That's probably.
It's right there. Look. See it, little
See
hen?
it. No, that's probably a baby.
Right where see where the branch goes like this and it goes up?
No,
There's a little nest right there.
Oh, so it's from the baby birds. The baby birds are going.
I don't know if that's that, but it's like more over there.
I can't even see the nest.
But because of the wind, it could come this way.
I can't even see the nest because the sun is right in my eyes. But that's okay. Whatever it is, I'm enjoying just being here. So, that's it.
And that's a good point, what you just said right now is, how many times do we logically want to explain something? And even in the most advanced fields of humanity that we've discovered, is we realize that just thinking about something changes the structure of it. You know, how many things do we change the structure of it, of the divinity that it wants to unfold?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a beautiful point of what we were sharing earlier, is that when we think we know something, we're structuralizing it. It's like it's not meant to be structured, solidified. It's meant to be subtle. It's meant to stay in this etheric state. And when we bring it into the solidified state, it no longer is what it was meant to be. Because now it's separated, it's compartmentalized itself, because it has to separate from the essence that it is to be solidified. So we are just getting a micro of what it was designed and destined to be.
Yep. So that's it.
And even with the shirt that I'm wearing right now, which is Desmond Dixon's shirt, his company, Joylistic Coaching, it's Win From Within. One of our students. Win From Within. I love it. Win From Within. It has like a pyramid, which this is my birth number, 777, and it really touches something deep when I feel this. And so you guys have anything to share? You guys want to talk about what resonated, what didn't? And if not, that's fine. I mean, we're
just being.
Yeah. There's no expectation. But we would love to hear from you if you would love to share. So, Resurrection Sunday should be called Resurrection Day, Resurrection Life. You know? Another one. Because we shouldn't celebrate it just once a year, somebody's physical death and resurrection. But even the Master said, ye all can do these and greater things in my Father, I am's name. Oh shoot, something just hit me. How many times are we resurrecting? Think about this, love. You ready? This is brilliant. Look at me. Before, I used to say, I am angry. I am angry. And how do we resurrect? With the same words, I am. Because we crystallize our belief with I am, but we can also kill a prior belief with I am love. I am patient. I am accepting.
I'm kind.
I am
whole.
I am compassionate. I am compassion itself. Because that is true. Whatever you believe to be, you are 100, 1000% true. What are you using your I am statement for? Because that just hit me right now. It's like when it said Jesus can do all these and even greater things than I have in my Father's name, which what is the Father's name? Which what he told Moses, I am that I am. So when we use that formula or that invitation, what are you putting with the I am statement? Because you're dying and you're resurrecting, or you're keeping something alive that you have the blessing to die to with your I am statement.
Something just came to
Go
me
for
as
it.
you're saying that. When I said earlier, that coincides when I said earlier that we are made in God's image. So when I love myself, when I go within and I have a better communication with myself, a better understanding of myself, then I am being that relationship, that being, which is God, Jesus Christ, who came to represent, and the way that I see it, for those of you that are Christians, if you have it that way of being said. So what is Christ? What did Christ come to represent? What is God? It's the smallest sentence in the Bible. God is love. So when I know within my heart that I am true to myself, I come from love. But it also says in the Bible that he who loves corrects. In Spanish, I'll say in Spanish, el que ama corrige, meaning that one that loves either corrects, like themselves, or as a parent, you love your child, you correct your child. So everything revolves going back to being love. And maybe I'm a little exaggerated in that department because I have been called by my very dear best of my silly friends. She calls me a heart with feet. She says, you're just pure heart with feet. That's all you are, because you're so loving.
Literally.
But yet in my loving, sometimes when I sit and I truly want to love myself, and parts of me comes up that I'm not sure why they're there, and I self-reflect, it still is going to take me back to that relationship that I am with God. And turns around to being God is love. So
one thing that just hit me, and I'm going to do an Instagram video, very short one on this, because I just had a message from Spirit. And it was so many Christians, you know, and this is not to offend you, so if you get offended, that's on you. I'm just sharing a message that I'm just a conduit for, and your faith is going to determine how much you're able to let go of you feeling offended. And that's really the message that I just got right now, is I'm going to challenge people's faith, whether you're Christian, whether you're Jewish, whatever religion you are. I'm going to challenge you on Resurrection Sunday to really be open, that if somebody doesn't play on your team, if somebody is not part of your tribe, if somebody is not part of your religion, it shouldn't matter from you changing the way that you receive them. Just because somebody says they're a different religion doesn't give you the right to think that yours is better, or to think that you're more justified than they are. Because if you remember, Jesus was open to all people. The prostitutes, the crippled, the sick, the hungry, the thief. He even replaced on the cross a robber and a murderer. Now, being a Christian doesn't just mean saying the title and justifying why you can behave however you want, because you know you can go ask Jesus and God for forgiveness. What this really represents is you putting your identity, your personality to the side, and sacrificing that personality on a cross and living like Jesus did.
bingo.
Being as Jesus was and is. And when you live like that, that's what you taught me. When you live what you reminded me, what you reflected to me. So I'm going to challenge, and I'm going to do this on an Instagram video, and if you guys can help me share this video, I'm going to tell them what I told my mom. If I say something that offends you, if I say something that doesn't go with your beliefs, you should show me how much stronger your faith and your belief is by staying loving, by staying compassionate, by not thinking that I'm wrong or right because I say something that offends you. If your faith is so strong, then you should be able to be who you are in the midst of the storm, that somebody doesn't say or do or reflect what you think is right for you. And I'm going to say, not just to the Christians, but to the Love and Light community, I'm going to call us all out on our BS. Because we think we're so entitled to be right. We think we're so entitled because I've come this far, I know more. No, we don't. Even I'll say it. I don't ever tell our students that I know what they need to know. And she knows this. And ever since we met, what is the one thing that I've told you, love?
Follow your heart.
Follow your heart.
Don't listen to me.
This is the message that all spiritual masters said. Go ahead.
And one thing,
No, what were you saying right now?
and you say follow your heart, don't listen to me, don't believe what I say.
Yes.
Find out for yourself. I desire to add a little something there to what you said.
Yeah, it hit me really strongly.
Thank you, because I'm so thankful, because like he says, I've been reminding him of this patiently. When you see me sitting here in my chair, this represents how I live my life. I sit patiently and I wait. I love Michael. I see his greatness, and when he gets in his way sometimes, I just sit and I wait, because I know there's greatness behind everyone. And the difference is that Michael's a willing participant. He works on himself. He's dedicated to what he does. He loves humanity, and I'm honored to be able to be part of that path with him. So as you see it in the religious arena of accept those the way they are, crippled, accept them if they're addicted to something, accept everyone the way they are, because that's what Jesus says, come as you are. Don't try to change them. I have never tried to change Michael. I accepted him just the way he was. What I do sometimes is that I mirror maybe things that he doesn't want to see, and so it brings him to a deeper reality, right? But what I wanted to coincide it with, when Michael says, look at the religions and accept everyone. If your faith is so strong, then don't be worried if someone shares with you about Jesus or Buddha. Don't be worried if someone shares with you about Jehovah, because everyone is just doing their best to attain that everlasting, eternal life somewhere in paradise. Everyone is just searching for their heaven on earth, to make it to heaven, to make it to a place that they don't think they can attain here. They don't feel they can attain it to be here. So every human being is on a path of finding peace, harmony, love, and they feel or believe that if they follow a certain doctrine, they will get there. But they don't realize that that peace and that love is within yourself.
Now, forever.
And so when Michael used that example, I'm going to put it as an example also to couples. Look how this works on every level. If you have a spouse, a boyfriend, a partner, a significant other, or it could be a relationship like with your mother or your siblings, if you cannot accept them and love them as they are, if they contradict something that you say, it's not because they're trying to be difficult. It's because they're learning along with you. They're remembering along with you. And all they want to do is to be able to... Let me finish, please, sweetheart.
I'm not saying
I thought you were feeling moving. I apologize. But I really do.
I love where you're going.
I really do feel that this is important, that sometimes as human beings, we create so much more hardship in our relationships because of our expectations. And if the person that's right in front of you doesn't mirror what you want to see, you will look at their faults and not at yours.
Yes.
And so it has taken me a long time. It costs me a lot. I totally transformed my life in seeking where I could be at peace, because no psychologist, no preacher or priest could ever help me find that peace that I was searching for. And I would put the blame on others until I realized that the only peace I can attain is within for myself. And when I die to that old Alice that beats herself up, that plays the victim because she won't get attention any other way unless she's being beaten. That was the only way I knew how to receive attention, is if I allowed the abuse. Because every abuser will do the abuse until they've gotten their fill, and then they'll come back and apologize, and then that's where they get their fix. So to me, all I ever knew since I was 4 years old was abuse. And so I was so programmed, and this body was only used to receiving love or appreciation through abuse. So until I could love myself with all of my faults and with all the mistakes or the decisions I made and not feel guilty about it, it took me sitting with me and strengthening that relationship with God. I've never left God. I've never left my desire to have that relationship. If it came through meditation and that was what worked for me, then that's what worked for me. I prayed for many years, but I prayed out of fear. I didn't pray out of faith. I prayed out of fear. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you, God. That was beautiful. Come here. No.
Gabidi.
And that's one thing I want to share, because that's one thing I love about you. As I love your love for God, for spirit, for life, for all humanity. You love so much. But you help so many people when they watch you. How many people help and serve and do and give? They become a martyr. Become a martyr to their own life. And then they blame God because they're not happy.
Yeah.
Instead of accepting that responsibility to themselves. Because it says, faith without, like you said, actions is dead. Or water to a seed.
Kind of like me in my office.
There's no fruit. Right?
I have faith that my office will be clean one day, but I have to do it.
So, one thing I do want to share with you, love. Thank you. One thing I do want to share with you. You okay?
Yeah. I'm just sharing.
Okay. And I appreciate you sharing. Appreciate you sharing. I do.
No, you don't.
I do. This flight loves that we're sharing too. One thing I do want to share with you. I love the way you love. I love yourself. I love how you bounce back. Now, much stronger than you could ever. You always thought you were weak. Remember the stories you would tell me? Mm-hmm. Everybody would tell you how powerful and gifted you are. And how many women can relate to that? How many women can relate to this story right here? She's in the process right now. But I do want to share what Lori said. Because Lori shared something. Lori, the one that we spent time with.
I know, but I get
Lori, the one that I drew the cover for her song.
Oh, okay.
You haven't met her, huh?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you did. You met her briefly. Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Lori, Jude. And then I had a message that I wanted to share too. But remember when I told you that I wanted you to outgrow me? I have a message to that really hit me really hard.
Okay. Share it after you give her.
Yeah. Laurie says, looks like you are at my favorite place in Yuma, the Lake of Good Fortune. The wetland. It's great to see you, Laurie. Laurie says, upon this Easter day, may you roll away the stone from the tombs of your own making, rising above any and all crucifixions imposed upon you or from within, and rise like a phoenix from the ashes during this unprecedented, challenging, and transformational time. Much love to you. Thank you, Lori. That was so beautiful. Thank you for that. Wow, that was really beautiful. Blessings to you and your partner. I haven't met your partner, but I've seen your Jackie Ibarra. Thank you for joining us. Okay, I already read that. I just want to know if... Okay. Lena Thakar, thank you for joining us. One thing I desire to share with you guys is this, and this is very unconventional, controversial. So if you are a person of faith, of Christian faith, I desire for you to think outside the box, because that's what Jesus wanted us to do. That's what all spiritual masters wanted us to do. That's what all life wants us to do. Because if we don't think outside the box, then we don't experience our potential.
Is this what you're going to share?
Yeah.
Oh,
so, thank you, love. Thank you for grounding me. Come here. If it wasn't for you, I would probably already flew somewhere else. Not like physically, but literally, spiritually. But we come to do the work. So one thing I desire to share with you guys is something that hit me really profoundly. As Ali was talking, I had to just let it go because I wanted to hold on to it. But I knew that if it was meant to be shared, it would come back. And it came back. And the message is this. When I first met Ali, I told her, I don't want to hold anything back. Whatever you're ready and willing to grow or to unfold, I'm going to give you everything that I have, everything that I got. Right, love? And I told her, I want you to outgrow me. I don't want to be the one that has the most, and, you know, what is it? The head honcho, whatever, like the one that has the most growth and is not allowing, you know, the people that come to them to grow because they're going to be threatened by them. No, I told her, I want you to outgrow me. So this is what I desire to share for those of the Christian faith, those of the Buddhist faith, those of the Buddhists already know this to an extent. Those of the Jehovah's faith, those of all these different faiths, is that when Jesus said, y'all can do these things and greater in my Father I Am's name, Jesus was giving us permission, and all masters were giving us permission to be a greater version of themselves. Because think about it. If you can love like Jesus, if you can live as Jesus, as Buddha, as Krishna, as Muhammad, as Jehovah, if you can live as all these greats have lived, imagine the world and the life that we would live today. But because we just want to see them and put them on a pedestal, we don't think that we can live their life. We don't think we have the permission to live their life. And Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Muhammad, Jehovah, all these great master teachers, Hermes, I'm going to give all of them credit. Thoth, all of these beautiful, there's endless, they're all over the world. They wanted us to outgrow them because they know, just like I realized from Allie, that when she outgrows me, she doesn't take away from me. She adds on to me. I've grown so much from her wisdom, from her intelligence, from her intuition, from her connection to Source, that I think thus as humans, we've been psychologically programmed to believe in a world full of lack. And I'm not talking about physical lack. I'm not talking about material lack. I'm talking about psychological, ethereal, energetic, vibrational, frequency, heavenly, akashic, life, that we believe that there's a lack. We need to let go of that thinking. And as much as you have, give it away. I'm not saying give everything that you have and go poor. I'm talking about spiritually, experientially. Give it, share it. And one thing that I'm going to share is people say, and they use an excuse, oh, well, if you guys are spiritual teachers, then why do you charge? Because people need to invest in order to feel like they are dedicated to something. Trust me, we gave it for free for many years, and people would not take us seriously. So what I'm talking about is etherically, spiritually, give to yourself what you have. Give to those that come to you all that you have. And if you charge a fee, don't charge a substantial, like, you know, people that come to you see that their environment, their economy, like their economic status, their financial status, their mental status, come at their level. Let's not be vibrational rapists. And I said it. So I'm challenging you as Christians, you as whatever faith that you believe in. Don't look at your deity as better or greater than you. Look at them as an example of what is possible for you. And trust me, at the level that you think they are at a grander level. So you're not taken away from growing to that level that you see them. Because we weren't meant to hold back. We weren't meant to be limited beings. We were meant to be infinite. What we are, eternal, infinite beings. So that's my message, and that's my challenge. And I'm going to share on Instagram, and I'm going to share everywhere. The two challenges for people of faith.
May I say something to that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when Michael mentioned, if you're a teacher, a guide, a mentor, or in this case, of course, the teacher of teachers, Jesus, or Buddha, everything that Michael mentioned, what came to me is, how do we apply that here and now? For example, I'll use us as an example. Whenever Michael says, wow, Alice, you've surpassed me in the, not in the knowledge, okay? It's not about that. It's surpassing in the maybe how I apply things, or that whatever he gave me when he said, Alice, follow your heart. Alice, don't believe everything everyone tells you. And he was accepting of how I was. Just because I was a Christian, he didn't hold back and say, well, I'm not going to tell her about meditation or teach her.
When I met you, I wasn't a Christian. I had pushed away.
Right,
The
but
Christian.
I was.
Yeah.
I just said I was. And he didn't push me away because I was a Christian. So my point is this, that when you...
On the contrary, just so the public knows, our viewers know, you brought me closer to faith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just said that earlier. So I can keep my train of thought here. Give me 1 second. What I realize is this, that when a mentor or a teacher fears being surpassed, or is jealous, or holds their material and says, no, because somebody's going to take it away from me, then that's a whole other vibration. But if your student, if you're a child, if you're a mother, if you're a father, if you're a mentor of any kind, a teacher in school, if that child excels and that child lives what you have influenced them with or taught them with, the only thing they're doing by excelling is giving confirmation that you exist. When you say that you love Jesus, but you don't live as Jesus lived, then you're not living proof that Jesus exists. Beautiful. When I followed my heart, I trusted in Michael. I heard what Michael had to say, that nobody else can make sense of what was in my head. Call me crazy or whatever I was called. But there was something in my being that said there's something more out there than being under a thumb. There's something more out there than me being my worst enemy. There's something that I know is out there. I just don't know the name. And when Michael explained meditation to me and said, Alice, it's all within you. You create your reality. I was like dumbfounded, right? So the moment I started to practice that, and I started to be more confident within myself, and I started to realize I need to make a change in my life because the path I'm following isn't bringing my true essence out, isn't revealing the true Alice. So when my sees or the jet is true to Alice, it shouldn't offend, or it shouldn't make anyone or my mentor uneasy, because the moment that I worry and my essence, it on my mentor. So it proves, if you want, as if I were a billboard to meditation. Oh, so what can meditation do for you? Well, it's transformed my life. Oh, really? And where did I get that from? Michael was the one that introduced me to that. So if you're a teacher and teachers who are teachers in the public school, how can you attest, how can they say that if the child is falling behind, they come to the teacher, what are you doing? Modalities, how are you teaching this child? Why haven't they learned math? Why haven't they learned English? Blah, blah, blah. And you need to keep records of it. It gives proof that you are teacher. Love and patience, I am reflecting that I live as God created me, as a loving soul.
There we go.
I think I broke the phone. I broke the whole internet system or something with my message. So that's about it for me today.
I want to add on is think about this. Just think about this for a second, okay? And this is for all coaches, mentors, pastors, preachers, gurus, teachers, whatever we want to call that, okay? More conscious reflectors. Ready, love? If I would have held back from you, who would I be cheating? Do you think I'd be cheating you? Only? Who would I be cheating?
Yourself.
how many people are robbing and stealing and cheating from themselves?
Because they hold
Because
back.
even in the faith, they say the robber and the thief and the killer comes in the night, right? Well, guess what? That's a direct representation of how much we're like asleep and ignorant and desensitized from feeling how much we rob from ourselves. But yet it's so easy to blame something outside of you for robbing your peace. But it's really us. That's a deep one too. So if you think about it, if you're holding back from the people that come to you for guidance, if you're holding back because you think, you know, like Ali said, I'm not going to repeat all that, that they're not going to come to you because they got all that they need, guess what? There's over 8 billion people in the world that need help. They need to know this. Stop thinking small and being like, oh my gosh, I need to keep the people that I have. If they really love you, they're going to stay for life with you. We have students that really, they're good, but they come to us because they just love being with us. We have a student that we have to remind him, hey buddy, you pay for your classes so that we can help you. He's like, I just love being here with you guys. I don't care. I mean, I've already worked and I'm enjoying life to such an extent, I don't need any more classes. And he pays, I mean, this is one out of several that they pay just because they enjoy being with us. Now, when you have that level of commitment, they're no longer paying because you're going to give them something. They're paying because they enjoy your presence. And we got to remind our students, hey, let's get back to your class. And there's one of our beautiful students there, Carmen M. Salcido, that, I mean, we just enjoy being together. And this is what I wanted to tell. If you're a coach, if you're a teacher, don't hold back from giving to your student because you're afraid they're going to go away. Because you're robbing yourself. Because the more you give selflessly, from giving to yourself selfishly, meaning you do your inner work on a daily basis, you transform like constantly throughout the day, you don't ever stop transforming, you don't ever stop letting go, and you give that level of service and delivery and love to your students, to your clients, to your children, I mean, it's a win-win situation. So that's basically it. I mean, we gave like so much on this video.
So thank you again,
and
everyone.
that's the level that we give. If you think we give on these videos, take the Samadhi Journey. This is nothing. This is nothing on the level that we give. And I'm not being egotistical. Go and ask our students. Go and ask our students the level that we give and we show up to honor and love and respect and just bless our students for blessing us to trust them, to trust us.
Yes.
To trust us and trusting each other on this beautiful path.
So, ciao, ciao.
And we still got to do
everybody.
Spanish.
Ciao, ciao.
We love you all.
Thank you,
And we're here to
everybody.
serve you. And just remember on this Resurrection Sunday, and I'm going to go back to the 3 things. If you're a teacher, let go of spiritual, psychological, energetic lack. Boom, I said it with that. 2, if you are a person of faith, walk the walk, don't just talk the talk. Walk it. And really embody, like a mentor, the qualities that you see in your religion, embody those. You don't have to study hard, because I'll say 1,000 times, I don't care, I'll never get tired of saying it, but I love that my wife lives it. She doesn't know, like with the K-N-O, logically more than I do, but on a spiritual level, she knows more than I do, because she lives more than I do. And that I'll give her huge. And we argue with each other because she goes, Michael, the way that you love, the way that you serve, I've never met somebody like you. And I tell her the same thing. Why? Because we're mirrors of one another. So that's 2. If you are a spiritual practitioner, love and light, Christian, Buddhist, Jehovah's Witness, Muslim, Jew, Hindu, what's many others?
Any of them.
Mormon, okay? Walk the walk. Don't just talk the talk. 3, I challenge you to challenge your faith, to be open and willing to not just walk the walk, but exceed the walk. Give yourself permission to exceed your teacher. Because exceeding your teacher is not going to take away from your teacher. So Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Muhammad, Jehovah, all these different gods, or what's one, but it's just different names, want us to exceed even our idea of it. Because that's how we're going to bring heaven to earth. It's not being threatened by it. It's not, playing small, because playing small doesn't help you or anybody else. Play big. But really, in playing big, you got to play small. So it's contradicting what I'm saying. Playing small is humbling yourself. That's playing big. Surrendering, letting go of all psychological attachments of that's what it is, and that's what I got to do, and that's how I got to do. Because it's in the letting go that you're going to realize and discover what you couldn't even imagine or even think or even comprehend of what your soul is patiently waiting to unfold. So Resurrection Sunday, what a message. Die to be born again.
Ciao, everybody.
We love each and every single one of you. Please share this video. I'm going to share this video with so many groups and people because this message needs to be heard. It needs to be heard. And you know what? I'm going to go on live right now and I'm going to say it. Nature's Gathering was our form of church, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to start because we lived a Christian background for a reason. We're going to bring Christians closer to God because they don't even realize the opportunities that they have. We're going to start our own church, not our own church. We're going to start a church, a center, a gathering to bring Christians and whoever wants to join us closer to Source. But because we come from a Christian background, I've been holding back, and Ali knows this. How many times have we talked about this? Because I don't want to just say that I'm serving one belief. But because I come from that background, I do desire to help many people that are tirelessly, rigorously, dedicatedly, determinedly, persistently attempting to discover something out there that is really in here. I said it. So blessings to each and every single one of you. We love you. Are you on? Oh, okay. That's you then. Thank you, Ali, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, each and every single one of you for watching us. Make sure to hashtag live, replay, and please let us know how we can serve you. And if you're willing and ready to take the Samadhi journey, you have nothing to lose. Well, I got it too.
I show 2 people.
I got it on me right now. I got baptized too. That you have nothing to lose. Actually, you have everything to lose. But you also have nothing to gain, which is nothing that you can imagine. You have everything to gain, but nothing that you can think of. You can't even fabricate it with the logical mind of what you're going to gain by taking the Samadhi journey. Patty Pierce, blessings. She says hi. We've been on here for like an hour and 10 minutes?
No,
so
more
you
like
can...
an hour and 14 minutes.
Okay, an hour and 14 minutes. We're about to go off, Patty, so you can go back and watch from the beginning.
Please.
And it was a powerful message, a very simple message. So this is how we serve each and every single one of you, that, when you're ready to take the Samadhi journey, we're here. Blessings. Share our videos, tag people that you think and and you feel this message will serve, because in serving others, you're really serving yourself, because you are one, we are one. And in serving one another, we're going to bring this heaven to earth now, this unknown to earth now. So please share our videos, tag people that you would like to watch this video or other videos that we have, and help us help others, help humanity help themselves. to realize they are the source, they are the answer, they are what they've been searching for. Thank you. Blessings. Namaste.